friends, my loves, my bliss seekers. Welcome back. We are here. If you have the visually appealing version at this time, you will see I have a glowing background as usual. And a new addition is our glowing microphone. Yes, we are getting a little more fancy around here. I'm wanting to really have a very relaxed feel and more of a conversation than a curated YouTube channel. Part podcast, part talk show, part education, everything that you need to build confidence in and out of the bedroom. Okay. So today I'm really going to dive into the why of everything, the why of this show, the why of my existence, even, and hopes that you really grasp what your why is, your purpose. We're really about passion, play, pleasure, and purpose on this channel, on this beautiful space. And I really want to get down to the brass tacks because we have so many outside circumstances that dictate what we do or do not do in life. However, that is asked backwards, in my opinion, because everything you need is already inside of you. My truest, deepest, heartfelt belief is that love is all there is. We are either coming from this place or we're crying out for it. And I will stick a stake in the ground and have that be my truth for years to come. I will grow, I will expand on that. But for right now, I just really want to get that love is all there is. And I myself was born on Valentine's Day, so I know it's a Hallmark day. However, the whole illusion of love has been something I've pondered a lot in my life. If this person does this thing, that means they love me. Or if they don't do something, that means they hate me or do not love me, which is totally not true. If I'm really coming from my truth of crying out for or coming from love. So the why of this channel, the why of my existence in coaching, the why I started a beautiful wellness program, a wellness business really, is to really get at the core who you are as an individual. I've had a lifetime of people-pleasing, perfectionistic ways of being, which burnt me out 3 or 4 times in my life. I've gone through depression, suicidal thoughts. I lost my house, my partner, and my job all in the same month. That is the big tagline of my story, if you don't know it. All because I didn't know how to communicate. So, what we're really here to do is learn how to communicate our needs, our wants, our desires without having any shame or guilt present, because that's super, super important. Shame is the lowest vibrational energy you can emit from your body other than death. It's like the degree up from death, which sometimes when you're in a shame spiral, it does feel like you're dying. Let's be honest, it feels like you're dying. So maybe that's why. But I'm here to show you ways of being that suggests that you are worthy because you are, that you're abundant, that you deserve love and pleasure and intimacy and the greatest relationships that fulfill your soul and heart, not just to check in and check out and do the to-do list. And like we have a lot of to-do list sex and we have a lot of to-do list like checklist lifestyles, which I am transforming, because we all got trapped to that because we've been taught a way of being that suggests that this is all we're good for, especially women. We've been really dragged through the mud a lot of the time with being the best version of ourselves. And my truest belief is that a long, long time ago, people found out how powerful women actually are with their whole essence, their feminine essence of sexual energy, which is where Tantra and sacred intimacy come into play of my teachings. And they just figured out the magic that's within us when we are fully self-expressed. So Shame was something we were taught to keep us quiet and to kind of snuff us out so we didn't have that ability to go to the fullest potential, meaning, expression, sexuality, being ourselves, being who we are versus good or bad. You know, there is no good and bad. Things are just as is. Humans, however, I've given it that meaning that we are good or bad, or, this person's a thing and this person is that thing, and it's all up to the eye of the beholder. Like perception is everything. And when you really get who you are for yourself authentically, you are the most expressed. You are the most goddess like human being. And you get to go back, in my opinion, you get to go back to your natural way of being, your essence of femininity, of being eccentric. Like, I was born on Valentine's Day as an Aquarius, and there's a lot of like, oh, Aquariuses are flaky, or this thing's happening, and there's a lot of stigma around certain types of people, whether it's astrology, whether it's your religion, your sex, your ethnicity. It's all the same thing. We've all done it. We're built to be judgmental. So it really takes something for you to not be that automatic way of judgmental, a victim, not being your highest and best self. And this isn't something you'll be taught, okay, in mainstream education or your life, unless your parents are like freaking amazing and they homeschooled you and they like traveled the world and showed you things. That's a very extreme version, but however, I just want to say, unless you go seeking for something bigger than yourself, you will always stay stuck in fear. And I think that's my biggest why is like I've lived in a very fearful container a lot of the time, even though I'm a very open-minded, eccentric being. I had a narrative of my childhood that everyone's happiness was my responsibility. So that left little room for me to expand and liberate myself from anything we were taught as children. And it's not our parents' fault. They were just doing their best, knowing what they knew from their parents. And now it's our job as the humans we are today to figure out a way that works for us. Because life is not a one size fits all, regardless of what people want you to believe. And I just really want to reach out and say, hey, you don't need to do it this way if you don't want to. There is more than one way to skin a pig, as my mentor always says. There's more than one way to smoke a joint, okay? I don't do that anymore. However, it's what all the kids are doing. So I really want to get down to what is your why of your existence? Why are you here? What are you here to do to be of service? Your purpose. Knowing that your purpose evolves over time, it's never going to be one thing for the rest of your life. It's an ever evolving idea, philosophy, ways of being. Just look at science, like science proves something, and then 10 years later, they're telling you the exact opposite. What's that about? It's because we are evolutionary, okay? We evolve over time, we grow over time. So when you're stuck and comparing yourself to other people, maybe your sex life isn't great, or your relationship isn't progressing the way you want it, or maybe you're not even in said relationship and you just feel like a piece of poo. Can you say crap on the internet? Sure, let's go. I am going to be fully self-expressed. If that is not for you, please just turn it off now. Do not leave hate comments. I am not here for that, nor is anybody else, because really you're just drinking your own poison. So my suggestion is just you don't bother and change the channel. My heart is so big. Sometimes I don't know what to do with it. It's a blessing and a curse. So like when you figure out what your purpose is, run with it. Don't fear it. even though it's probably the scariest thing you'll ever find out about yourself and being like, oh my God, I'm really good at these things. I've had so many people pass away. I've lived through depression, suicidal incidences, thoughts, medications, binges of alcohol, blacking out, drugs. Nothing really hard. Like I was a good girl in the mainstream way of understanding drugs because I never did them. The biggest thing I ever in like really ingested was the Mary Jane, which is an herb, right? It's natural as long as it's not laced with something. And now I'm just really on this journey of not only self-discovery, but who am I within a partnership? I've had so many toxic relationships, it's not even funny. I played mother role, I did everything. I cooked, I cleaned, I'm the best person. I gave you blowjobs. I'm an amazing human. And yet I was dying inside. So what did I do? I got help. I went to many different forms of therapy. I went to CBT at the hospital. I got a psych analysis to make sure I wasn't, in fact, crazy. I just needed someone to talk to. Imagine that. You wonder why I'm all about connection and intimacy? This is why. My main stance in the world is around mental health. And most people are like, well, how is mental health related to intimacy? Well, when you learn to love yourself fully and you can honor every part of you, the dark things, the light things, and everything in between, the hilarious things, you have this sense of self that is like uncanny and no one can take that away from you. You can't unlearn that. It's like transformation. You can't unlearn transformation. You just transform. So anyway, I digress. I go on tangents. If this isn't for you, again, I will circle back, but it's always like there's so many thoughts that we want to cover, and it reminds me to go back to them at a later time. So I just really want to express how my life has gone up until this point has been just so phenomenal. Ups, downs, twists, turns. My dad died when I was 12 from cancer. My mom battled Crohn's. My sister was diagnosed with borderline personality disorder. And there was me. I was a dancer. Still am. I danced, and that was my therapy. The biggest form. I went to CBT, I went to CODA, which is Codependence Anonymous. I went to different like um, counseling and like therapies and all the things. And it wasn't until I was like ready to surrender everything that I knew about everything that things started to open up. Um, Tantra. Tantra was the thing that saved my life through and through. It was the thing that finally allowed me to feel love for the first time. Unconditional love. Okay, not the conditioned kind. I'm just gonna relax a little bit here because this doesn't really work for everyone that's watching. I'm like in the camera. I'm trying to figure out technology stuff. So this is probably a really rough cut, but guess what? You get me real raw and in your face. So congratulations. Just really honoring my process and knowing that I haven't had the easiest life. It seemingly was very hard, which I know a lot of you listening and watching has had a hard life. So I see you. That doesn't mean that it still has to be hard. You get to choose. You get to do things differently. You get to decide what you want in your life and then just go for it. So really the next 90 days for me is about healing all the parts, the mind, the body, the soul, and your emotions to really come around full circle with who am I really? And on this journey together, like I'm here with you. It's not like you're just left in the dust with a manual, essentially. I hate coaches that do that. They're like, oh, here's a manual. It's like, No other offerings, really. I'm just gonna leave people in like sink or swim and then change the belief that coaches are bullshit. So, anyway, tangent for another day. And what are we really here to do is to figure out your why, to figure out your purpose, to figure out who you are authentically without the masks, without the patterns, the upset, the meaning making machine ness that you are as a human being. Oh, that's another point. You're a human being, not a human doing. I love this factor. There's no amount of doing in your life that's going to make a difference until you change the internal dialogue of who you are as a being. So instead of being righteous and a victim and a martyr and all those like icky things or being shameful, okay, you get to be excellent. You get to be abundant. You get to be alive, free, and fun. Passion, play, pleasure, and purpose. This is what we are here to create in your way. Okay. This is not a one size fits all. It's kind of like Tantra. Okay. Tantra is a philosophy, it's a way of doing life. It's not a religion and it's not like cutthroat. It's not like you have to do it this way or you'll be shunned from the people. No, you get to decide what it is for you. To be tantric is to be intentional. It's to liberate yourself from the old narrative of which you used to be. It's to expand your awareness, and it's a very growth mindseted type of way of being. Now, Googling this, you will find a lot of sexual things come up. You think it's some kinky sex position. It could be. It's very tantric of you, but it's not actually what it is. So, my why in its entirety is to get the life that you desire, that you deserve, to finally love yourself, like literally fall in love with yourself. That no matter what anyone says to you, no matter what your life actually looks like from an outside circumstance, you will, in fact, love every aspect of you and yourself. And it's a process, it's a constant practice. It's not a one and done, son. That was my old mentality. It's done. I've already done this. No, it will kick up every time you go for something new. It's a pattern, it's like a loop that you're just so used to playing into every time. And when you do that, um, you just perpetuate the pattern. Now, our process, our job is to cut it at the knees and say, no, we're gonna actually recreate the pathway neurologically so we don't end up doing the same thing. If you ever notice that your mannerisms are very close knit to like your parents or people you hang around a lot, yeah, because it's repetition over time, you've adapted those things. So this is our send off. This is our big kickoff. There are lots of goodies in this little basket I've provided today. So please tell me what you would like to hear about more of, because I know what I want to hear more of. I mean, I'm all about movement and dance and natural products with essential oils. doTERRA is my babe. Love it, love it, love it. Amazing company. I am like human design freak. I love puns, like dad jokes, and just humor. Dance and humor are what got me through my dark days, other than my amazing coaches and mentors and all the things. However, when you have nothing, you always have something. So remember who you are, and we're gonna do it. And I'm gonna have people on as guests. So if you want to be a guest and share your story because you really want to understand the vital importance of connection and connecting to who you are, your bliss. This is what we talk about, okay, on this beautiful show. I'm going to send you off with that and hopefully figure out my technology so it's not so like squirrely. Oh, here we go. And I'll catch you later.